So much interesting tech that's coming out of China lately. This is the Chewy HiBook Pro. Now the HiBook Pro was released just in China for a short time, but it was later pulled because they had some trouble with it. So I never bothered to import one in and review it, but now I have myself one. And I got this one, I picked it up from Banggood. You can see this is the typical Banggood packaging if you don't ask for the original retail box. So they repack it in this polystyrene box, and yeah, it's not as pretty and not as nice to unbox, but the good thing about it is that I've never had anything damaged with this kind of packaging they use. Okay, so I'll cut this open. So it seems that Banggood are the only ones that are selling the second batch here. So this is the one that apparently has all of the fixes. Alright, I should be able to just pry this open now. There we go. So how does the HiBook Pro differ from the HiBook that I reviewed? The only change is the screen. Now the screen has a fully laminated display. They call that OGS, which is one glass solution. So it should look very nice. It's got a PPI of 299. The resolution is 256 by 1600. This here is just some warranty cards and all the rest of it. And the power supply. So they've included a European one for me, which is good because normally they give you the Chinese 2-prong US style. Rated to 5 volts, 3 amps, so faster Type-C charging. And of course our USB to Type-C for data and charging. So here you see the design is exactly the same. So have a look and see how much it weighs. 560 grams. And the thickness. So thickness is 8.4 millimeters. So on the bottom there are the 2 support slots for the keyboard dock and the 5 Pogo port. One of the 2 loudspeakers, micro SD card slot, the USB Type-C port, and another USB port there which is micro USB 2, microphone, and then the HDMI port and 3.5mm headphone jack. You can see either side has some Torx screws here securing the front to the rear metal housing. And along the top, the power on button, volume up and down, and the rear 2-megapixel camera. And on the right side, it's just the other loudspeaker and another 2 Torx screws there. And on the front, there is a 2-megapixel webcam and a Windows home button. So I'll just get the screen protector off. Well, the first layer of it at least. Oh, and right here, there is also an ambient light sensor and status LED. Build quality seems good. There's no flex. I can't hear any creakings in that. Around the screen, this boardy here, that is made of plastic, and that is what connects up with the rear metal housing. But no complaints with the build quality. So I'll just get this powered on for the first time. If there's any battery in it, that's good. There is. So a closer look at that fully laminated display. It actually looks really nice. It's a little hard to make out with the camera because I need to adjust the exposure to get it actually to show up properly. So that was the dual boot menu there that just popped up. The typical selector where you need to push the volume up and down buttons. So one of these ones here will select left and right to Android or Windows. So Android's just launching now. So here's the ROM. You can see it's a very stock ROM. There is no bloatware whatsoever on there. Just have a look down in About tablet. So it's running Android 5.1. And have a look at the free amount of storage. So free storage is 9.38 gigabytes there. So that's, at least you can fit a few larger games on there. But I'm liking the look of that ROM. The screen looks very nice. This thing is very sharp. There's a closer look at it. You see without any air gap there, with the non-laminated typical displays that we get like their first model, the HiBook. This looks really good. 2560 by 1600. Very sharp resolution, but I'm a little worried and concerned about how that's going to affect the performance of gaming in Android, because there are a lot of games that do run in their native screen resolution, and ones like Mortal Kombat X. Other games like Real Racing 3 upscale, but Mortal Kombat X doesn't, so I imagine that's going to be very choppy with this kind of resolution. The Atom X5Z8300 that has probably won't be able to handle that. So to hover over to Windows, it's just a matter of just swiping down and switch to Windows. It's just asked me now. Your tablet will boot to Windows. Alright, so here we are in Windows. Let's have a look at the system, have a look at the device manager. Do you see there it has 4 GB of RAM. This is the Atom X5 Z8300 CPU. Touch support with 10 touch points. Windows is activated. So the seller has already gone in here and obviously with their quality control checks, checked everything out and then shipped it out. That's what often happens. So they've already set up an account. I didn't have to go through all the initial first setup. So look, and device manager there. So network adapter, probably be Realtek, yes it is. So that's just wireless in, the typical wireless in. The disk drive, sorry, is a Toshiba 064GEA. So brand drive they're using, they're not using a B-Win. That is good to see there. So while I'm here, why not have a look at the screen, its colors and slightly better detail. That's a very punchy red this here. It was taken with a Samsung Galaxy Note. The blacks look really good, the whites, the colors. It has a 4K clip. Gravity 2K trailer, see how that handles it. And finally, just have a look at it with the lights off here to see what the viewing angles look like. It doesn't seem too bad. It's quite hard to pick up on camera this, but that looks good to me. Let's see if I have a darker image. It doesn't, I can't seem to see any light leakage, which is quite common with fully laminated displays. I'll just give you one more close-up of the screen here in Windows. You can see the time and date there, just how sharp that looks. Not bad at all. I am definitely impressed with this display. So what about the keyboard dock? I don't actually have it with me. They changed the keyboard dock slightly, so the HiBook keyboard isn't actually going to work on it, which is disappointing. So try and slot this in. It looks like it's, whoops, it's going to work. It's going to fit in there, but you don't hear that confirmation beep from Windows that it's actually docked. And this is the reason why. You see here at the back, the two supports here don't actually let it fully dock and sit right in there. It lines up perfectly, it looks like it's going to work, but if I apply pressure to try and force that down, it still will not fit. So the fault lies with these two prongs, they're just too high. So that is the Chewy HiBook Pro there. Now first impressions are this display is really nice, it's very premium. It's just a shame that it's not covered with scratch resistant glass, so we don't have any Dragon Tail or Gorilla Glass on top of that, it's only side-aligned glass. There's a pre-applied screen protector, and the build quality of it is good. I mean, I've seen the HiBook, it's got the same build as the HiBook, and it's well put together. Those Torx screws hold everything in there. There's no flex, there's no creaks in it. It feels good. Now, I will be going through it at a later date. Hopefully, within about a week's time, I'll have my full review out. So that will cover benchmarks, internal drive storage speed, most importantly as well, battery life. I will measure the display, check it out, go into Android 2, test out some games to see how the Atom X5 Z8000 Intel GPU is going to be able to handle this really high resolution. I'm a bit worried about that as mentioned. So I hope to catch you soon with the full review and more videos on the HiBook Pro here.